Alright guys, today we're actually into 3.1. We're out of our reviews. Now we are solving equations with variables on each side. Our goal today, I am learning to solve equations with variables on both sides by using the distributive property and combining like terms. By the end of class, hopefully you can say, I can use the distributive property and combine like terms. I can move variables to one side of the equation, and I can solve equations with variables on both sides. As we're going through this, it's going to look similar to what we've done in the past, but as you can see, where we would normally draw our line down, circle the variable and everything that's attached to it, well, now we have one over here as well. So we are going to have to combine those as well as the constants, those regular numbers as well. So again, we have our variables, 6n and 4n. We have our constants, -1 and -5. So I'm going to take this one step at a time for this first one. Then we're going to combine the steps down here at the bottom. You can choose whichever way you prefer to do. Okay? So first things first. We always like to move our constants to the same side. Most people will try to move the variables to the left, numbers to the right. Doesn't really matter. I prefer to move the smaller variable, which tells me I'm going to end up moving this 4n to the left, which means I want to move the numbers to the right. So, we have a -1 over here. How do we get rid of -1? Well, we're going to add 1. I'm going to do this a little out of order from what's over here off to the side. This is the addition property because we are adding. So, -1 plus 1 is 0, so that cancels. We are left with 6n equals 4n. We didn't do anything with these, we just brought it down. -5 plus 1 is -4. We only have one constant. We have two variables. So we have to move this entire thing. Normally we would divide by this 4, but since we're doing the entire thing, what is the opposite of 4n? -4n. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And again, this is the subtraction. I just flipped the order. 4n minus 4n cancels. 6n minus 4n. 6 minus 4 is 2n. Equals, we didn't do anything with this -4, so we bring it down. Now we have what we're used to seeing, a one-step equation. 2n equals -4. We have to get rid of that 2 because it's attached to the end. How do we get rid of something that is attached to? We divide by it. That way that cancels. We're left with n equals -4 divided by 2 gives us -2. Box off your answer. All right. All right. So instead of having so many steps this time, I'm going to move the variables and the constant at the same time. Which number is bigger, 2 or -3? Hopefully you said 2. So we're going to move the smaller variable. So we're going to move this -3x. How do you move -3x? Well, you add 3x. Add 3x. That way that cancels. Since we moved our variables to the right, we want to get rid of this -5. Well, how do you get rid of -5? Well, you add 5. What you do to one side, you do to the other. -5 plus 5 cancels. we are left with 10 plus 5 is 15 equals 2x plus 3x is 5x. We have something attached to the x. So what do we do with that? We divide by it. Divide by it. Cancels on that right side. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And all that's left is x. So you can do this either way. This takes you step by step, keeps everything in its place. Here, we do all the work that we can right here. Again, there was no parentheses, there was no combining like terms on each side, so we were able to go across. Okay? So that's all there is there. Now we get everyone's favorite, fractions. I'm going to show you my way of doing this. You probably won't see this in a book, but this is my way. So I'm not going to do what's over here. Okay? I'm going to look at my equation here. I see fractions. I don't like fractions. I want to get rid of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the distributive property. I'm going to multiply my entire equation by the biggest number that's on the bottom. Because 3 and 6, they're multiples of each other. So I'm going to multiply by the biggest number on the bottom. What that does is that makes me have to multiply this 6 by everything. Okay? So we're going to have a brand new equation. Our numbers might be a little bigger, but we don't have to deal with fractions. So, what is 6 times 2? 6 times 2 is 12 divided by 3. What's 12 divided by 3? Well, that's 4. We had an x there, so that's going to stay. Minus 6 times 1. Well, that's just 6. Equals 6 times 9. That's 54. Minus 6 times 1. Well, we just said that was 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. X. So now we have an equation that looks like what we were working with on this side. We have a variable and a number, a variable and a number. Okay. We don't have any more fractions. We can go to work. So, draw our line. Which variable is bigger, 4 or negative 1? 4. So I want to leave that one. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 1x. How do you get rid of negative 1x? You add 1x. Add 1x. That cancels on that right side. I moved my variables to the left, so I got to move my constants to the right. So I got to get rid of this negative 6. How do you get rid of minus 6? Plus 6. That way it cancels on that left side. Notice when you're doing this, you're going to have your x's cancel on one side, your variables cancel on the other. This could have been flipped. You could have moved your 4x this way. You could have moved your 54. It doesn't matter. 4x plus 1x is 5x. 54 plus 6 is 60. Solve for x. Get x by itself. We have to divide by 5. Divide by 5. Cancels over there. So x equals 60 divided by 5 is 12. All right, last problem here. Now we have decimals. Again, if you have a calculator, decimals aren't that bad, but sometimes we still don't like dealing with them. So similar to a trick with fractions, we're going to multiply this by something to get rid of all the decimals. If you notice, we have 2.3, 2.8, negative 1.2, and 9.8. We have a tenths place for each of these. So because there's a tenths place, I'm going to multiply this entire thing by 10. Which, if you remember from previous chapters, previous years, when you multiply a decimal by 10, you're just moving your decimal over one. So our new equation here is 23x plus 28 equals negative 12x plus 9.8. All right, so we're here. Just like we were up top, we have a variable and a constant, a variable and a constant. Well, let's solve it. Which variable is bigger, 23 or negative 12? Well, that's negative 12. So we're going to move that. We're going to add 12x because that was a minus 12x. It's going to cancel over there. Because my x's canceled on the right, I know my numbers, this is supposed to be 98, not 9.8. I apologize. Because my variables canceled on the right, my numbers have to cancel on the left, so I'm going to get rid of this plus 28, so minus 28. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That cancels over there. 23x plus 12x gives me 35x. 98 minus 28 gives me 70. We got a number attached to a variable. That's all that's left on that side. So we have to divide by that number. 35 cancels. X is equal to 70 divided by 35, which is 2. Make the numbers easier on yourselves. You don't have to work with fractions. You don't have to work with decimals. Get rid of them if you can. If you have any questions, please ask. Go ahead and get that homework done.